All right, well, welcome back into the studio, and today is our first 12 in 12 for 30, and I will be, this 12 in 12 for 30 is the new art journaling series that I'm doing for 2021, and last year it was journal play, and this year I'm going to be working in the Dilutions 8x8 creative journal. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to hold up to all my usual texture, but these are pretty sturdy. They feel like they're creamy in color. They feel like a mixed media paper, not a watercolor paper, but they feel like it would be a good place. And I can always, the way the binding is, I can always make changes if I need to make it larger. So I'm not too worried about that. I have got a basic, well, I can't say it's an idea. I've got some papers for decoupage is where I was gonna start. And these are some underpapers that I are all kind of in the same tonality. Then some white papers, coffee filters. This is deli paper. This is, I'm not quite sure what this is, but it was, I had a whole bunch of papers from Christmas ornaments that had been wrapped around Christmas ornaments for years, and they started to tear. And I thought, well, don't waste those, put them in your stash. So I did. So I figured the first thing I was gonna do is get some decoupage laid out. Let's see here, this is kind of like my color. Guess I'm gonna work right here. Get some decoupage laid out onto here and go from there. And another thing about the 12 and 12 for 30, it's one layout a month for the year for 30 minutes. Now that 30 minutes is not going to include my dry time. What I typically have done in the past is just let it dry naturally and then come back to it. But I'm wanting to push myself a little bit further, and so I have my my heat gun as well as my blow dryer that has different settings on it available to me to dry. I will stop my timer, dry, and then resume my timer. So we'll see how I do with this. This might be really challenging for me this first month, but we'll see how it goes. So that is where we're gonna start. Thanks for joining me on this mini adventure. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start off with some decoupage. I am not putting any gesso down because I am going to be covering pretty much this whole thing with decoupage. And if I don't, then we'll put some gesso down afterwards. So my intent when I'm going through adding this decoupage is to create textural layers. So this paper is very wrinkled. It tears very easily. Well, the paper on the left, right now I'm putting down some deli paper, but the paper on the left that I had, I can't remember where I found that. Oh, it was around some ornaments. So that paper is very wrinkled to begin with. So as I'm decoupaging it down, I am not worrying if it rips. I'm not worrying if it folds over onto itself. I am just going with the flow, because really my goal is to add surface texture that I can play off of with whatever color or medium I add to it after that. We had as long overdue. I know we've had. As always, down in the description box, I have a list of all the supplies used, as well as where you can find me on other social media. And also please know that there are links listed with the supplies I've used. These are either to my Etsy store or to an affiliate link, and I only link to products that I have used, tested, or prefer to use. I may receive a small compensation, but there's never any additional cost to you. So using the links really help me put supplies on my art table and keep my channel content coming to you. So I thought maybe I could dry and decoupage at the same time, and it didn't work for me. So I tried that for a few minutes and then was like, okay, I'm done. It was probably less than a few minutes. So I turned off my timer and dried, and then turned it back on, and now I'm getting in with some gesso and a palette knife. And I'm just really scraping it down really hard so I can get some thin areas and then thicker areas. And I just wasn't real conscious about much really in going at this. I was just getting another layer down. I gotta break free to find me. Highs and lows is how life goes. Are we ever... I don't know what inspired me to go in with this towel at this point. All I know, it was just I was led to do it. I think that because what's going on in my mind is keep moving, you got time here, you don't have much time, get it done. I think that I was really out of my head more and just allowing that intuitive process to happen. So I pulled it up with a towel, and now I'm going in with some paper texture paste, and getting that down with the palette knife. Just another layer. I can be brave on my own. Alright, so I've let that dry, and I'm now coming in with some acrylic paint, and I'm mixing my color here. I believe this is cobalt blue and some titanium white, and I'm getting it really fluid. Adding water to it, getting it to a really nice loose consistency, so it's almost like, well, it's not a true glaze, but it is almost like a glazing. Really translucent. I'm pre-spraying my paper so it moves really fluidly across it, but yet gets caught by the textures that is already down on the page. Texture from that layered paper, texture from the gesso that's been applied thin and thick, texture from that texture paste that went down. Life keeps spinning, no one's winning. Are we ever gonna stop pretending that there's no... Here, I'm gonna zoom in really close so you can see how that paint is getting caught on some of that texture. Our time is out. Whatever we had is long overdue. I know we've had our doubts, and I had no clue what to do. It's an emergency. And now I'm just taking a paper towel and just randomly going in and lifting up some of that color I laid down. I want to give it more of an ethereal look, like you're almost looking through the mist. And you have to be careful with paper towel because you can get the imprint from the paper towel onto the surface. So we're just going to go in and get that dried up. All right, so I've got that dry, and I've got this paper left over, and originally this paper I had clipped it to another piece of it that I had typed out a Robert Frost poem on, and so I thought I'm gonna use that. So I decided to come in and just do some punching of circles in a variety of sizes and use that so it will match kind of the layers that I've used in the background, but also this is a perfect page for that poem.
Overdue, I know we've had our doubts, and I have no clue what to do. Our time is out.
Alright, now I'm going to go in with a Stabilo All, and this is the 8041, the Stabilo All in blue. And so I did some really sketchy lines around each of the circles and then came back with water to activate that. And some of it started to like wick out and catch on some of that texture. And that really got me kind of excited. So I just went with it. I was going to go back around them in the black. As you can see, I have it out on my right hand side there. But I did not end up doing that. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. The little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost.
Highs and lows is how life goes. Are we ever gonna stop pretending that there's no sorrow, no tomorrow? When is this bubble gonna pop? I'm sorry, but our time is out. Whatever we had is long overdue. I know we've had our doubts, and I had no clue what to do. It's an emergency. I gotta break free to find me.
So I've gotten that dried, and now I'm going in with my fine liner that is loaded with airbrush medium and titanium white paint, and just putting a little highlight sketchiness around each of those circles, and then coming in with the Delusions ink spray in white linen.
To do. Our time is out. Whatever we had is long over.
If you are inspired to create something after watching this, please share it on social media and use the hashtag 12in12for30. Please take the time to like this video if you do, and subscribe if you haven't.
I